Hi. I'm recording that video because I'm very concerned with the effects that lockdown and this disruption of our life have on mental health. I saw some comments from few people that describe that their mental health is not really well, that they feel very deflated, that they feel anxiety, that they feel that they are getting depressed with this situation. I even had a comment from a person who was newly trying a suicide attempt. This is very important that we will help each other and support each other in this difficult moment. I'm not trained counselor or psychologist, but I'm very passionate about subjects of personal development, and I've been studying this area for over 7 years now. That's self-study, self-work. I'm really into it, and I can share a few things that really helped me to get through difficult moments and that made me who I am now. And mostly this is the knowledge. So we need to empower ourselves with the knowledge. Very first thing that we need to understand now, in that reaction we are operating under high level of stress. And if we understand the pyramid of need, there is need for safety. That need comes before need for shelter, for food. There is need for safety, and below that there is survival instinct. And survival instinct basically overrides all function of our brain, of our mind, and it might be that we are now acting irrationally. So we can have our friends and family disagreeing with us, while normally you can have logical conversation with them, but now they might be completely paralyzed by what is going on. So just bear in mind that this is happening. Try to be more understanding and more patient with people, because we are all going through this. So what we need is we need to empower ourselves with the knowledge, and we need to support each other, because there's two aspects. So knowledge is one, but the second is that we as a social beings, we are biologically wired to live within society, to live in connection with others. And if that is not met, then we feel depressed, we feel rejected, we create all those states, physical states, we manifest that in our bodies. So it's important that we understand how we think, how we think. Sorry for my pronunciation. How we think. So, how we think, how we think, how we operate. And that will give us more control over how we conduct our life. Because if we don't conduct our life consciously, it will be like if it's a series of accidents, of mishaps, of things that we got no control. And it's so easy to get depressed or overwhelmed in a situation where we got no control. So let's regain control. Let's look where we got control. And the very thing, the only thing that you will have control is you. It's ourselves. Because I may wish for good weather. We've got good weather today, but what if there will be rain outside? I might wish, I might swear on bad weather, I might wish for good weather, but it might not happen. So I need to adapt to whatever weather is there, and there is no need for me to get depressed about the weather that is outside. So this concept of personal development, I would say that first thing that we need to realize is that even before this situation, most of us, we conduct our life unconsciously. And if you think about good analogy, if I would be unconscious driver, meaning I can't drive, I will enter the car. It's so easy. I just got the steering wheel, two pedals, gas, and then brake. And I don't know how to operate that thing, but I want to drive, and I do this unconscious. I will damage the machine. I will have very little luck with that, and I will do more harm than good. So, in a similar sense, if we conduct our life unconsciously, then it will have similar effect. But then, immensity of being human being is that it's not even like a car. We are like a being, like a jet plane. So we got this steering rod, and then we got like 2,000 controls around it, and no instruction manual. And we try to operate that thing unconsciously. We grab the steering rod and we try to make our move. But most likely we can crash the whole thing into first building instead of lift off and getting machine in the air, which is complicated because once you do this, then jet just flies, and this is effortless. So human mind, human body, human beings, they're even more complicated than piloting the jet. And the problem is that nobody tells us how to do it. And that's why we get into so many struggles in our life. So concept of personal development is about living life consciously. And it was moment where I realized I lived my life unconsciously. So I followed up conditioning, which led me in dead end. It was conditioning of going to school. So I completed full formal education, including university. I graduated with master's degree in political sciences, and first job after that, I had a in call center for £120 a month, which completely it was like hitting the wall. Um, I couldn't understand that, so I did everything that I was expected. I spent 18 years in formal education just to come out and make less money than I would do as, let's say, 17 years old who will go to supermarket and will work as a cashier at an unskilled job. And I was, in a way, devastated. I spent 12 months working like this. I borrowed some money, and I did the next thing I thought that would be best for me, and then I moved abroad. I had a choice of going to capital city of Poland, which is Warsaw, but I didn't want that because I know I would spend most of my life commuting and queuing in traffic, which I didn't want. So I thought, why not? I might as well give it a go and try my luck abroad, see the world, and that was my motivation. So I borrowed some money and I came here. So I left everything, all my formal education, I left it from scratch. But then, again, I was following unconsciously the second conditioning, which was so now you get the job, you will get the job, and now you climb the ladder. That's the ladder for you to climb, that's your employment. You can get promoted. Um, Once you're established at workplace, then you can buy the home, get the mortgage, start a family, pay your mortgage, live your life, and pretty much what? Die. That was it. Retire, whatever. That was me, and that was my conditioning. And in both occasions, so like conditioning around education system led me in dead end. And then the second, where I voted with my own feet to come to UK, and I started in place in capitalistic marketplace where you kind of compete. Yeah, I tried my chances. I was climbing the corporate ladder. Again, I ended up being disillusioned. Why? Because I didn't understand I can do different things in life. So I was trying to fit into the roles that somebody else expected from me, and that caused a lot of stress. It caused unhappiness, and I just realized I'm not fulfilled with that. And that was a moment where I bumped on a video by Jim Rohn on YouTube. It was about personal development. This is a seminar called How to Have Best Year Ever. It is over 4.5 an hour, and it will give you. It's still available to see on YouTube, and it will give you major concepts about personal development. So that was a moment where a seed was planted in my head, and I would say I was also very moved by this, because this video helped me in the moment where I was stuck. Because I thought, one thing didn't work out, I follow all that conditioning, so screw that. Now I will try something completely different. And this saying, grass is always greener on the other side. So I left one thing and I moved to another, and there that made me understand that there's no more grass on the other side. There's nowhere to run and hide. We need to work where we are, because there will be no other planet happiness, or other place that we have to move to find happiness. Because we can move to any place and still be unhappy, still be discontent with our lives. So, listening to Jim Rohn's story of his personal transformation, I picked up so many valuable concepts, and that became passion of mine. I became a student of personal development. It reflected later at my workplace career, and as well it helped me to build a business, and it helped me to break through from employee mindset, and I managed to start and maintain business. It is still a process that I'm going through every single day. I take every single day as a school, as a learning day, and I study, continuously study. We're now in this big disruption, so it's taking my mind away from business and from other goals that I had just before this started. But now I think this is like perfect storm. Every cloud has a silver lining. The silver lining of the situation that we are in is that if the whole thing is now shaking and might crumble, the whole society, whole arrangement, whole world is now going through a massive transformation. As well, this is opportunity for us to start again, start anew, but start better. And we can reshape the ourselves and society in a way which is more humane. Because those things that we've been through, let's say like working all our lives being unfulfilled, I don't think this is humane. It is one of things that we do unconsciously, but if we will do conscious choices, would we do that? Would we work just for obtaining the material possession, just to have life which is making us discontent? I don't think so. So that was moment that really wake me up, and ever since I shifted my focus, I never feel again depressed, and I've been through lots of serious troubles. Like running business is very challenging. So I've been through things that really tested me, but because my mind was set on something else, it never got me back into thinking that I've got no choice. And it was just an understanding of certain concepts. So, like Jim Rohn's story was story of personal transformation. So, a guy who was born at a small farm had his small life, worked as a supermarket clerk, and started family, started going into debt, and he transformed his life. He become a business person. He become one of the people responsible for success of international company Herbalife. He designed training program for them, and then he spent over 37 years of his life driving around the world and teaching people about personal development. So how did it happen? And like this story was so moving, and it was so genuine. He speak from a soul. He told his story of transformation, and I was really moved by this. It was that moment where I felt completely stuck at my workplace, at every conditioning that I had, and everything that was expected from me I did. So I finished school, I went to job, I worked as hard as I could, but in both situation, it just got me to dead end. So now with this concept of personal development, I just started studying um, things to knowledge. I obtained knowledge that helped me to empower myself. So if you listen to Jim Rohn, he said that while he was lost in life, he had a mentor who shifted his attention and explained him that parts of life they are separate disciplines to study. So he said that if you want to be happy, you have to study happiness. If you want to be healthy, you have to study health. If you want to be wealthy, you have to study uh, wealth. So happiness, wealth, health, they are individual studies. So if you will think about this, why we're unhappy is because we're living unconscious life. And once we get to this moment where we feel that we're burned out, and what is burnout? The burnout is feeling that is coming from within because we're doing something that is not fulfilling us. But the unconscious side of us tells us that this is not something that we were meant to do. So we can't name why we feel discontent, but we feel like this, and we feel drained, we feel deflated. But this is all our self work because we create that emotion. There is interesting thing concept. If you would understand this, then it will help you to control your response to the world. That we decode the external world and we create this internally. So, for instance, you're now watching this video, or if you're seeing somebody, this is just a light reflected from an object that goes back to your retina and is being decoded in the brain. And then you interpret this. So, you're not even, in a sense, seeing the world, you're seeing the reflection of the world. You're reflecting, or we all reflect in our brains and we create the vision of the world. Now next thing is like voice. Why do we speak so many languages? This is just a set of sounds that I make. How come now you can understand me? Or maybe you will struggle with understanding me because this is my second language, so sometimes I don't pronounce correctly or I can do some grammatical errors. You might interpret me, you might understand me, or there can be variety of reaction, not necessarily one that I want to achieve. So this will be your interpretation. So now, if you think that this is your control center, and we take everything from external world and we process inside, then it means that we create those states. So we can create states of happiness, we can create feeling of pleasantness, we can create feeling of being fulfilled. It's that external thing. We we create those feelings. But as well, on the other hand, is this other side of a coin is that we can create as well feeling of discontent, we can create anxiety, we can create depression, and that all is our making. But we don't understand this, and that's where the problem is. Because if I don't understand something, then it controls me. And if I want to live my life unconsciously without paying attention to it, then things will happen to me and I will blame them. So I will blame the circumstances. I will say, oh no, I was born in, let's say, poverty. And next thing, I was born in that country. Then next thing, next excuse could be that, abroad, my possibilities will be limited because I'm just a foreign person. You can give yourself, like I did this, you can give yourself a million of excuses or interpretation why something is possible or is impossible, and you can create as well multitude of feelings around the external world. But the thing is that it is always inside. So no matter how many times you will move the place or you will move circumstances or whatever, you will change job or you will change partner and you will say, oh no, it's just with the next one, then I would really feel fulfilled. With the next person, with the next job, with the next place, it won't happen. Because very same thing will hunt you down, and this discontent will be yours. So the key is to understand how we function as a body, as a mind, as emotion, and if you believe, as a spiritual part. Because I believe there's more to us than being intelligent pieces of meat walking down this planet. So all these areas, they need to study. So we need to study psychology, we need to study our emotion to respond better. There's that area which is called emotional intelligence. We can have highly educated people who have no experience of real life, and without that experience they got no emotional intelligence. It means that they can have certain knowledge of the subject, but they're just they just can't speak to people, they can't communicate, they can't make a connection. It's because they don't resonate with people, they have no experience. So just the education is one part of the equation. Second is experience. So everybody will be through them two stages. So formal education, then getting the experience. Everybody will go through this. But then not everybody will go on the third stage, which is conscious exploration and conscious development of chosen area. So that's what I call personal development. When we find this thing that we want to study. So in my case, this is personal development. Everything else is just a side effect of it. So like doing business and breaking from employment, from corporate job, even now doing this video or doing those live streams, this is all new thing, and I just take it as a part of personal development, as a part of my evolution, and that excites me. And if you think, we create those emotions. So on one hand, I could give in to the feeling of being overwhelmed. Oh, I've never done this, how would I do this, will there be somebody to guide me, or I could get lost, I could get overwhelmed, or I can just embrace things and get on with them. So it took me years to change things in my mind, but then why I'm doing this video now is that I want to redirect your focus where you've got actual control. Because the thing is with human mind is that our logic is our logical mind is tricky, and we can fall prey of that mind because it can get us into dead ends. So I just told you about my dead ends, but then there are other dead ends, like emotional dead ends. So, like reliving the trauma, reliving, like replaying, rewinding the tape. So most people, they, once something happened to us which traumatized us, we just go back to the same place and we just play the tape again. And that causes that we forget about today, about this moment, and that's the only moment we are living. Anxiety, on the other hand, so that will be maybe state of depression, state of trauma. It will be reliving the past experience. But then we got anxiety, which is also high today. Anxiety is thinking about future, and then thinking about future that isn't designed, which is accidental, which is just happening, uncontrolled happening, then it will cause anxiety. But if we will conduct ourselves in a controlled manner, if our future will be designed, then we will not live in this emotion. So that's being conscious that will allow us to relive life more consciously, and then there will be less surprises. And then remember that we create all those emotions within us. So, like for instance, feeling of pain, like when there was the last time when somebody actually made us harm, like physically attacked us, and how many times we actually create the pain and suffering within ourselves, and the feeling of discontent. If we address this to ourselves, then we can think, what is the source? Why am I unhappy? What is causing my anxiety? And then once I got this area identified, then I can work on it. I can change things. What is that is making me anxious? What do I fear for? Because now, again, bear in mind we are in this illogical state. So everybody, they are in a high fear mode. Their survival instinct has been triggered. That puts the logic out of equation. So first thing would be to calm down. If things are changing around us, it's only our interpretation that it will be good or bad. Yes, world is changing. I'm not gonna say that we'll be back to what happened before the lockdown started. We won't. We'll be through massive change in society, in the way we are living. But I'm excited with possibility. I'm here with a certain stance. I've made my stance. I I stand against what I don't agree with. But on the other hand, I'm not angry. I'm not anxious because I'm full of expectation. I'm full of hope for better outcome, and I know that we can work for something which is really worthy of human beings. We can work for a different future. And next thing is that I already had my life, and I'm just concerned about future of my child and everyone else child's, future of next generation. What we will leave for them. Do I think that human beings should aspire to leave this place better than we found it, and that can only happen by our work. And if you think everything is a collective achievement, because we wouldn't have this civilization, I wouldn't do video and I wouldn't post this on the internet if there are not centuries of developing the infrastructure, developing the technology. So none of us made it alone. Never. So like whole civilization, the fact that we're getting education, even if it's not the best one, it's still only thanks to previous foundation. So if we first think about sense of appreciation of what we've got, then we will be feeling less of negative. So I can focus. This is like switching channels in telly. Should I watch fear porn at telly? Should I watch horror movies? Should I watch something else? What's your choice? What you want to watch? What you want to feed your brain? And that is important choice to make. Because if you don't do it, then you will live your life unconsciously, and you will be responding, and you will resonate with every situation that will happen to you. So, one friend of mine told me that it's like resonating like a spring. So you're now like this, and then you go like this, and you resonate because things they stretch you. It was good analogy, and if you address things consciously in your life, then you will have more control of your life. But it's not about being control freak. Don't get me wrong as well. It's about living life consciously. It's like I don't have control over that ferry. I just take it easy. I'm not freaking out that it will sink or even if there will be storm now. You just have to put trust. Things happen. You have to go with the flow. So now I'm enjoying the moment. I'm here. I'm enjoying great view, great weather. I'm taking that moment to reflect. I just had a nice cup of tea before I did that video, and that's here and now. And then I can travel back. I take one step at a time without being overwhelmed by anxiety or by fear. I've got to do so many things in life, but then I'm at this stage of life where I'm not stressed anymore. I'm not fearful of them. Same goes for fear of death. If I understand that life is a process, then inevitably, in the moment that we are born, and the end of this process is death. And I think as a society we've got so disassociated with the concept of death. We don't understand it, and we cut ourselves with a big wall. So we are just happy clappy. We were just happy consumers of life, but then we forget where we will end up. And that's why we got care homes. Once you're old and useless, then we'll just dump you there. That's how we become. And because of that, now we are so easily manipulated. I mean, society. It just scares me in that sense, how we came to this. But then it just, as well, is giving me opportunity to review all my connection with people and helps me to re rewrite my life goals, think what is meaningful and what is not. There was that. There's plenty of memes now flying around lockdown, and one of them was saying that lockdown gave us all opportunity and time to reflect on our lives. And nobody did, but we all had time. And this is funny and true. because it was first time in this century or in a history where we basic civilization stopped. But did we reflect on what happened? No. And now we're going into a bit of turmoil because there is a struggle of old with new. Old thing is crumbling. The foundation, they are. I'm on the ferry. There's some noises. There are some noises in the background. So old world is crumbling. The old foundations, they will collapse. But I don't think it's a bad thing. It's a good thing, and we should embrace that, and we should participate in that. It's participating in life. That's what makes our life whole. That's what gives meaning to life. Because meaning of life, there's no such thing as meaning of life. We give meaning to the time of our life. There's no goal that we need to fulfill. There's no tick list that we have to go through. There are certain expectations that can get us into dead end, into this corner situation, but it is only because we are living life unconsciously and we don't reflect about this. And that's the result. So if we live life consciously, then this will be more satisfying, more fulfilling. Again, idea of burnout in life is this unconscious mind, it's the back of the head that tells us you're doing something that you don't want. And that was Jim Rohn. So I've been into employment for so many years. I've had my things mixed up. My low self-esteem was telling me that my self-esteem is strictly connected with the position I got at work. So I thought the only thing I can do is to get promoted, to climb the ladder. Instead of just, I don't know, now I would just disassociate myself from that thinking. I would just go to work. I would do what I'm expected to do. Then after that work, I would go out and I would just enjoy myself. I would just switch myself off from it. So because I couldn't switch myself off and I had so many expectations in my head, I was creating sorts of anxiety, sorts of feelings in my own head. So if we understand that, we create all those feelings. We can create either a feeling of pleasantness or discontent. So the key is to switch to living life more consciously. So that's the main reason of that video. Um, Another thing is that I had this thought in my mind that I want to do something like this. So I want to do videos about personal development. I want to share my experience. I was really impressed with Jim Rohn, and I thought this is my aspiration. That's what I want to do. And then being perfectionist, I never started because I would expect to have everything prepared perfectly. I will have a perfect studio. I will have a perfect script. I will have perfect arrangement. Whatever. I would stop myself from doing anything at all. I wouldn't do it. Simple. But now, at last few years of my life, I just do things. Like in business, you can't get prepared to what will happen to you. You simply can't. And then people are stopping themselves because they're saying like, "Oh no, it's not a good time to start." With that thinking, they will never start because there will be never a good time to start. There's always time to start. You got only so many days, months, years of your life. If you won't use them, then you will lose them. There is an article that you might research on Google. It's called Regrets of Dying. It was written by a nurse working at hospice, and her job was really to uh, take care of dying people. And when she was doing that, she was having series of conversation, out of which she picked up major regrets that those people had when they were dying. And those regrets, to your surprise, they wouldn't be like, oh, I wish I had a better car, bigger telly, newer smartphone, bigger mortgage, bigger house. No, it was it was regrets of not trying. It wasn't regrets of material possession. That was regrets of the moments where we given in the fear and when we didn't really truly live our lives. So you can find this article. Just Google "regrets of dying" article. I don't remember name of person that wrote this, but you should find it easily. Regrets of dying. Just Google this. So this the shift of perspective. If you shift your perspective in the field that you can control, there's no end to possibility that will happen to you. So like 7 years ago, I just had this seed planted in my head, and what come out of this is amazing. Because otherwise, I would end up with being stuck in dead end job, being unfulfilled. I wouldn't be even able to identify what is happening with me. So I would cause suffering to myself and those around me because I will not be in control. I will not be conscious. So I would suffer. So now, if we learn about what is causing the suffering, what is causing traumas, then we can work on this. That will be area of our influence. We can empower ourselves with the knowledge, and then remember, I'm on the ferry, and the ferry is getting close to uh, docking now. So that was the announcement. So again, that would be type of thing that would stop me in the past. Like, where's my perfect condition to record something? No, there will be never perfect conditions. You just have to live in that world around you, in those circumstances that are around you. Jim Rohn says, don't wish for another planet. Just embrace this one. Don't wish it would be easier. Wish you were better. Wish for development of a skill set and a mindset. Wish for things that you've got in your control. So I wanted to shift your attention in this difficult moment, and I will start recording those videos about major concepts that help me to move ahead in life, in business. So that will be about personal development. It's not like just psychology or just business lectures, as general concepts, philosophy, outlook on life that will get you through difficult times. Jim Rohn says that it will be your personal philosophy that will determine where you will end up, not the circumstances, because circumstances around us, they're like a blowing of the wind. We got no control over circumstances. So circumstances, there will be wind, like economical wind in sense of weather, economical, political. We just been through massive storm with the Brexit. Now we got massive storm with coronavirus, and you know what? In 3 years we might have another crisis, another situation, another thing going. So those things will always happen. It's not the circumstances that they will determine. It's our philosophy, it's our attitude that will determine where we will end up. And if we don't focus our attention to areas where we can control and we can actually achieve something, work on them, then we will end up frustrated. So that empowerment with the knowledge, and then getting the human connection, reverting back to human connections, it will help us to get through those difficult moments. So that's just important. That's what we should all focus on. So just think, how can you address this now? So self work, think working on your mind, on your emotion, on your body. That's just within our control. And then regain the control of our social circles, because what has been under attack is our connections. So we've been told we cannot see our families, we cannot see our friends, we can't organize, we can't gather in groups, we can't sing, we can't congregate, we can't go to places of worship. This is psychological game. And if we know it's a game, why would you take this in? I explain this in more blunt way. So for instance, if I would want to wind you up, and you know that I'm intending to wind you up, would you let me? You don't have to take those things in. You're setting the gate. You can create the gate through which you will let certain things in, and you can work on becoming more and more selective. So don't be too upset. Don't go into craze and hype. Just take a moment to reflect. Take a moment to take some breathing exercises, just to not allow yourself to be overwhelmed. Well, there was one person that messaged me. She's working as a professional counselor. We will do maybe Google Hangout, and we can address things that concerns you, and we can take it from there. So the biggest thing is to shift attention. I keep on saying, if you got grain of sand in the eye, then that would pretty much this will cover the whole world. The point of pain, very small thing, is such immense that will distort the whole vision of world. And the only thing you can focus on is that grain of sand in your eye. But it's not everything. It is just a pain point that we are through. So we need to see through it. We need to take that grain of sand from the eye, and we need to regain the sight. We need to look at what is possible. We need to shift control. So taking control is to address things to ourselves, and then regaining the social connection, reconnecting with our friends, with family, rewriting our goal list. What is important now? Is this a job, career? Is this chasing material possession? Chasing happiness? Whatever it is, if you decide what is that and you write it down, then you can break those things into smaller steps. But if you go through all this unconsciously, you will be forever in turmoil, and forever you will be in a situation when something else controls your life. So it's all studying. So studying, study happiness, study health, study wealth. If you don't understand, like, let's say, how money functions, then money got control over you, over your life. If you understand how they work, how they function, if you master them, then you will be in control of money. And we just use them as a commodity, as a tool, and then you will set terms of your life. For sure, chasing material possession will not give you fulfilling life. So just rethink what you want and start again, start anew. So that is important, to live life consciously. So I hope that this video was helpful and it helps you to shift attention from that difficult moment we're in. And I will start doing dedicated videos on particular subjects, and they will be all around personal development. They won't be just like focus on business. I will just share my thoughts there. If that is interesting for you, then you can follow me up on this. But then, in terms of, again, mental health and reaching out for help, don't be afraid and just reach out, because there's so many people willing to help, and we can support each other. We can create new networks. There's so many people that we are now connected with. If we give a shout that we need help with this and that, it will happen. So, for instance, I ask for a bit of support, and people who watch my live stream, they crowdfunded my ferry ticket. So you never know. Don't assume that something is possible or not possible for you. You don't know what is possible, but you can take outlook that will take you into that end. So don't assume things. Just be open to possibilities. Have your mind open. Be open for change. Welcome the change. Because as human beings, we are meant to go through changes. And then, if you will understand the immensity of being human being, the lack of top line, it is a scary thing in one sense, because this can make us stray to various paths. But then, we all will make mistakes and silly things. Consciously, unconsciously, we will search for things, we will do some mistakes. It's unavoidable. It's a process of learning, process of life. So that's another thing, like we've been conditioned, is to chastise the mistake, chastise the failure. If we embrace failures in our life as first maybe as a road signs, because if I went in particular direction, I did something in my life and it wasn't for me, then that's my road sign. You're going in the wrong direction. That's not fulfilling me, so why would I continue? So the failure is not just disaster, it might be blessing in disguise. So same like this challenging time, it sounds like a tragedy, and it doesn't have to be that it's just a tragic event, because out of that transformation, out of that fight, will come out only with things we need. Yeah, so this will help us to separate wheat from the chaff. It will help us to rewrite our priorities. So don't allow yourself to be overwhelmed with this. Don't think about fear. Don't focus on that. And next thing is accepting the gifts. That's another concept I want to give you. Because bullies, the more frightened they are, the more aggressive they become. And like governments, they overstep their authorities. It's happening all over. I'm just on my way from Dublin, so that's Ireland. I've been to Berlin. I've been in various places in UK. It's also happening in Poland and in so many countries. The governments, they had a power trip, and they completely disassociated from its own citizens. They disconnected from us, and they basically turned against us. They were meant to represent us, but they went from position of representing us and managing the society. That's what we trusted them to do with. They went into ruling position. That's a position that only bully can accept, because bully is afraid, and person that is afraid wants to tighten the grip. They want control. They can't embrace free human beings, because to interact with free human beings, you need consent, you need agreement. So like democracy is the art of communication, it's the art of consent. So now this is lost. It's been override by tyrannical government. It is frightening everybody, But do not allow yourself to be overrun by this feeling of fear. Just remember, this is irrational. Focus on the facts. It's not a deadly plague. This, what we've been told, what we've been fed, is like constant fear porn. It's just so intense. The propaganda, the way they address this, the way they communicate, they're inducing panic. This is crime to shout fire in the cinema or theater because you can cause stampede. And that's what governments did. They caused stampede. They caused a panic. They made people, they turned people into their survival mode, and they did a lot of harm to economy, to society, and this will take now decades to rework and to recover from. But then again, this is opportunity, great opportunity to rethink our life and to reprioritize stuff and live our life more sensibly. And I take this as opportunity. I want to leave you with that. And then next thing is like, don't accept gifts from bullies because they're giving you that gift of their anger, of their frustration. You don't have to take that in. You decide. You got like gate, which you can separate your mind from external world, because I just explained you that we take things and we process them inside. We create feeling of contempt. We create feeling of suffering, of joy. So you will decide what response you will have to external world. So once you are aware of that, you can control your life more than rather just respond to things that will happen to you. So same with the bullying. You don't have to accept the gift the bully is giving you. It's their insecurity. The violence is not the answer. The fear, anger, resentment, violence, they're not answer. They will not they will not give us solution. So the solution, we need to look within and we need to come to arrangement, because what is happening now is that they want us to accept certain things. They want to code us into this new abnormal situation, which is totalitarian dictatorship. It's like dystopian prison. We don't have to accept this. There is no force on earth that they can do this. There's no military power or police forces sufficient to control or to enforce this. So the whole game is that they want us to self-police those changes, and you don't have to agree. Simple as that. No, thank you. I'm not having it. I'm not taking your gift in. Your sick, wicked gift is not for me. Just keep your anger for yourself. Keep your insecurity, keep your bullying away from me. We can do that, yes? So we can support each other. We can refocus on what is important. We can rethink our lives. We can reprioritize things. So do not overwhelm yourself. Just take it. Take what is happening, but just reflect on what is going on. Focus on what you can do and just live your life in a sensible way. Don't allow yourself to be dragged in, because then you will create suffering for yourself. That's not needed. You can embrace the conscious process and choose how you will respond to life. So I hope that was useful for you. I now need a bit of drink because my throat is dry now, and Ferry is docking now, so it is Holyhead place. Again, talking about perfectionism. No such thing. That's beautiful view. It can help you to shift your focus. Perspective is very important. In few years, you will be thinking about what happened, and you will reflect in a completely different manner. There will be different things that will absorb your head. So just enjoy the ride, embrace the changes, be part of them, be active, and we can help each other. Yes, so we can reshape things, we can reshape society, we can reshape ourselves. Do not get overwhelmed, just refocus. And thank you for watching. I know I'm taking time, but this is subject that that's my problem. I can't stop talking when I'm getting into into this subject, personal development. So I know that I should be maybe more concise, but I'm just getting with the flow. So again, thank you for being patient with me, and thank you for watching. Thank you.